presentation?
Sure.
Okay.
Does anyone on our hand, anyone have any comments or something that they would like to share with the group? No? Okay. We're ready to go.
Jessica, I wanted to say, I think we can do questions at the end of the presentation.
Okay.
And if you want to sort of take questions from the floor, I think we'll do them verbally. It's probably easier for you than using the chat box. And people who are here on Zoom today, if you have a question, you can put your hand up and say it out loud, or if you're more comfortable typing it into the chat box, which is down at the bottom of your Zoom window, you can do that. And I can act as a moderator for that. Jen and I can. We'll keep an eye on the chat box in case you have questions. Okay. All right. All right. Bear with me here for a minute. Share computer sound. I want to do that. Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. Welcome. Jan, my dear.
Okay.
Oh, you probably can't read the French. I threw in a little bit of French just for...
Yeah, that was sweet of you. Actually, I have about 3 inches on the left side that are blank. The slide needs to be moved over.
Oh, it's centered. I can't do that. How are...
Hold on, I have a thing that says, let me do fit to window. Okay. There we go. I did it.
Oh, good.
Welcome to Cafe La Brain. Welcome Montreal, and whatever the heck that says. My name is Jan Pitts, as I've already said. I did want to go ahead and tell you that I'm not always this festive. I love to celebrate anything that's going on, and in the United States today is what we call Fat Tuesday, which is a celebration of Mardi Gras in Louisiana, and you adorn yourself with lots of beads and lots of bling bling. So that's why I'm so dressed up for you today. I want to tell you a little bit about my career prior to my diagnosis. I was a professional advocate. Excuse me, I left something out. We were going to record this. I need to read this brief thing to you. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted as a public video on YouTube. If you are using webcam and are visible on the screen during the webinar, your picture may be recorded as part of this video. If you do not wish for your picture to be recorded, turn off your webcam by clicking on the camera icon in Zoom, or simply move out of the picture frame.
Okay.
Also wanted to make a note that there is no medical advice. Please note the content of this presentation represents our opinions. However well informed they may or may not be, it is not to be considered medical advice. Medical advice should only be obtained during one's conversation with one's physician.
Okay, that's the... We did the introductions, but Jan, yes, I want to hear more about your background. Definitely.
Okay. This is a good place for it.
Yep.
I was a professional advocate with promotions leading to the post of program administrator, reporting directly to the Advocate General for the state of Oklahoma. I have also had years of experience working as a social worker, both in working with individuals with intellectual disabilities and our aging population, among other coexisting conditions. My career spanned 20+ years before the onset of my dementia. It is my belief that I can further the cause of self-advocacy by bringing this unique experience set with me as we begin this journey towards our universal right to inclusion at the international level. I have given this endeavor great consideration to ensure I can invest a significant amount of time and energy to our cause. Okay, why DAI, why Dementia Alliance International, why now, and what is the purpose of DAI? A world composed of families, care partners, professionals, organizations, and governments who empathize with us, listen to us, and respond in enabling ways to our needs and wants. We want a world in which all conferences, training, and meetings concerning issues related to us involve us in the planning, delivery, and evaluation of the events. Also, a world in which we are equal partners with others in our own care and treatment. A world of people living with the symptoms of dementia are a driving force in creating families, communities, and nations that are free of the stigmas associated with dementia. And a world which recognizes and provides meeting our basic human rights and ongoing human needs. As a group of like-minded individuals, we have come together with a vision of creating a self-advocacy group for individuals with intellectual disabilities related to dementia. We find that the need is great, but that we lack the existence of a self-advocacy group in North America and across the globe. We propose that this is unacceptable in a world and countries where inclusion is the guiding light to both change and progress in like groups. It is our position that we nurture human potential, we develop innovative and effective solutions, we partner with families and communities, and we build on our individual strengths in a responsive and fiscally responsible manner. That no person be left behind as we embark on meeting the needs of those we serve, inclusive of ourselves. Dementia Alliance International is a group comprised of people living with dementia from around the world. We aim to represent, support, and educate others, and it is an organization that provides a unified voice of strength, advocacy, and support in the goal to achieve individual autonomy. This group is dedicated to advocacy and support of, by, and for people with dementia. It is made up of real people diagnosed and living with dementia, no longer willing to accept the continued absence or voice of people with dementia from the decision-making processes and conferences that impact our lives every day. It is dedicated to giving a global voice to people with dementia. And our vision for our organization is a world where a person with dementia continues to be fully valued. Our values are honesty, humanity, trust, community, equality, respect, inclusiveness, determination, perseverance, friendship, empathy, and listening. Our mission is to build a global community of people with dementia collaborating inclusively to provide support to live well with dementia, to model to others, advocate for people with dementia, reduce stigma and discrimination, and ensure our human rights. DAI is different because we offer a unique voice and viewpoint of, by, and for people with dementia. Our membership is 100% exclusive to people with dementia. We are committed to change, and we are committed to living the best we can with dementia. The current services that are offered by DAI are our website, newsletters, which are quarterly, online support groups, which are held weekly, our weekly blogs, a meeting and combined webinars, which are held monthly, online memory cafe, and our Connecting to Whom I May Concern, which is an interactive theater project run by Maureen Matthews, in which a number of our members have been involved, and also at key conferences. I'm sorry, I left out. We also have master classes in a DAI university.
I had to go to 2 pages on this, Jan, because we have a lot of service. Yeah.
Okay. No wonder I got lost.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay, speaking at global conferences, Facebook information page, our Facebook support group, our YouTube channel, like I said, we have a weekly blog and our opportunity to get involved in projects. Part of our mission is to build a global community of people with dementia who are collaborating to provide support, model to others what living well with dementia looks like, to advocate and to educate, reduce the stigma, and more. We're able to build upon the existing community of people with dementia on the internet, and our job now is to reach beyond the internet and get the news out. Although we have only been in existence for 1 year, we have been able to accomplish a lot by building on the existing skills and services of our board members and with their connections to people who are providing some of the services. Our current services include what I have already listed. I was supposed to read that before I listed. I'm sorry. Our website is evolving, as are the services and support we provide. Please sign up for our mailing list and newsletter to be kept up to date. Our future, realizing our vision, education and support materials to secure fundraising, conference attendance and speaker invitations, collaboration with all key stakeholders, working with the media, and to be able to employ paid staff. Our first year accomplishments were developing our values, mission, and goals statements, sponsorship of attendance of 6 members at the Alzheimer Disease International Conference in 2014 in Puerto Rico. We had 5 speakers at the ADI conference, 5 masterclass presentations, which are available for viewing on YouTube. 4 members on the discussion panel at the ADI conference. We had the election of the first officers for DAI development of the role of the board of directors. We started the creation of the Circle of Friends and the creation of the associates. We completed our bylaws. We received approval by Alzheimer's Disease International for DAI as the advocacy group for people with dementia. We have 2 members who will be speaking at the World Health Organization event in Geneva, one in March and one in May. We are members of the NGO or Global Action Alliance, and that's a new membership that we just started. We're waiting for the first meeting to be held on that, and so we're very anxious about it. And we just held our first birthday party, which was a lot of fun. And we did that online. This is one of my favorite sayings, and I never heard it before. I was part of DAI, and I use it frequently. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever does. Membership of DAI is exclusive to people with dementia. Family carers, professional service providers, researchers, and healthcare professionals are welcome to join our newsletter mailing list and support us through donations. And that would be at www.joindai.org if you want to make a note of that.
Jessica, I thought I'd send you the links to some of the pages that are mentioned today.
Yes.
So that you can send those out to people.
Yes, we'll share them for sure.
Okay, Laura, I had planned to go ahead and take a break at this point to ask if there were any questions on our beginning section, and instead of running them through so that people could remember their questions.
Good idea.
So we did have a question on our end that was asked in relation to the DAI University that you referred to.
Yes.
Explain what that is and
DAI University was 5 presentations by board members of master classes that are hopefully going to be used at 2 different universities who are interested in collaborating with us on this project. And this established our first sessions for them to be able to view. And they're also available on YouTube.
There were 4 or 5. I guess there were 5 classes on such topics as how to speak with your doctor, strategies for going in to speak with your doctor, what to do right after diagnosis if you're feeling kind of lost. There was one on advocacy, and there was one on speaking with your family. And we also did a webinar as well, and the topic escapes me right now what we did. But we've recorded those and put them on our YouTube channel, and I'll send you the link to that. And they were really terrific. And as Jan said, our hope is to be able to collaborate with universities. There's a university in Australia that's interested in collaborating on putting together classes that are taught by people with dementia for people with dementia.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Laura,
Yeah.
may I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Since you are sending out the links to those folks, would it be a bother to send them to us or me also, so I can put them all in one place?
No, I'll do it to everyone. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
We can note everyone's use.
And there will be a homework assignment that you watch all 5 and you'll be tested.
Right.
Okay. Jan, there was a birthday party and you held the party and you're the only one that had cake. So.
But I
No.
didn't eat it.
Oh, okay.
Rose did.
You were showing off.
Oh, by celebrating? Never.
Anyone else have any questions about the slides that we just explained what the organization is? No?
I did want to point out something that is very unusual about Dementia Alliance International. Besides the fact that it's been organized and the board of directors is comprised completely of people with dementia. I mean, that's unusual unto itself. But Dementia Alliance International has done this pretty much completely over the internet through Zoom meetings like you see here, through emails, a lot of emails, Facebook, monthly meetings over Zoom like this. All our board meetings take place over Zoom because we have board members in Canada and the United States and England and Australia and Germany. So for us to meet regularly, of course, we could never afford that in our dreams. So this is how we do it. And it's really quite amazing that the group has been able to coordinate this through the internet this way. Right now the group kind of counts on going to the Alzheimer's Disease International conferences, and whoever is there gets together to meet. But that can't be everybody because, again, it's expensive to send everybody. So that's how we, using the internet is how we've gotten around the travel expense.
Especially sending them to Perth, Australia, we have found.
Yeah, a little expensive.
But it is nice to get to meet in person, and we do see the benefit of that. And we're hoping that one day we will be able to have our own conference. That, of course, is not in the near future, budget-wise, but it is where we hope to go.
And it's also very important for us to attend these conferences and actually speak at them.
Yes, because we don't just have attendance. The people who attend do speak at these conferences.
Why is it important to speak at the conferences, Chris?
To let people know that dementia does have a voice, that we are capable of our own thoughts, and that we do have our own reasons for being there. It's the only conference I've ever been to where the percentage of people with dementia is very low. Any other conference you go to,
Below 2%, Chris.
yeah.
Can I answer too, Chris?
Yeah.
When I'm speaking, at the very, very least, I hear mufflings of, well, she doesn't look like she has Alzheimer's. And at the very least, that's something.
You're doing a very important job, and we are very happy to have you here. You play an important role, and it's amazing how over the internet you've been able to coordinate and do so much only within 1 year. We do have another question here from our audience, from Nancy.
Okay.
I'm just going to ask if she can ask it directly.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want to know how many members they have and how they recruit.
Okay. I don't know if you're able to hear, but Nancy here was asking how many members you have at DAI, and how do you recruit? Or do you need to recruit? I don't know.
We recruit through social media, and the last that I was aware, we were at around 80.
No, we're at 107 now.
107 now.
Yeah.
They keep sneaking them by me. I see the applications as they come in. I to add.
I know. I update you. Yeah.
Well, we should have done something to celebrate 100.
I know, it flew right by.
Another celebration I've missed.
We want to try and get as many members as we can to show the actual support and to give people with dementia a voice. That even if you don't want to take part in anything, to actually just join and show your support would be amazing.
And to get the newsletters and the blogs and the updates, it's going to give you information, even if you're not an active member. Passively, you're going to gain information and insight.
Okay. Thank you.
We recruit through the website. There's a membership form, a very brief one that just asks for some details to get to know the person more. It's private. The information is not shared with anybody. And through social media, as was mentioned. We have a flyer as well that we email out to members so that they can print it locally and distribute it locally. We have Jessica, it'd be awesome to send it to you and you could hand it out to members. It would be nice to be able to partner with Alzheimer's Association and Alzheimer Society chapters to be able to let people who come to your office know about Dementia Alliance International.
And I actually see that happening in the future through our collaboration with Alzheimer's Disease International.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
right.
I've shared it with, on our end, I shared it from our office with the coordinator of the person who works specifically with people with dementia in our office, different support services, the support groups and outings that she organizes throughout the year. So I did share the link, and she especially liked the WISH project, which I'm sure you'll explain further.
We're working hard on that one.
I think that's all the questions on our end. I'm not seeing any other hands going up. So if you want to continue, please feel free.
Do we have any questions in the rest of the group? Yeah, is it true?
Forgot I had my speaker off. Laura, could you send out the slides also, as well as the links?
Okay.
Or at least, some of them, the ones with the goals, some of the stuff that you guys have recently decided or established, you know what I mean?
You don't really care about the recording and the medical advice. You'd rather have the
unless I can see the person talking, it's blah blah blah. I can't. It sounds, but I can't understand anything that's being said.
Can you see me all right, Drew?
I can see you guys when they're talking. I can't.
You can't hear them. Okay.
No, I can hear the sounds. They just don't make any sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Jan, shall I start up the
I'm ready.
part 2? Okay.
Part 2 of a two-act play.
There we go.
We want everyone to know that advocacy does work. I'm going to start with self-advocacy, which is the individual use of resources to meet one's needs and goals. You need to know when self-advocating is needed. Using your common sense, your gut instincts, whatever it is about you that tells you that the situation is not what it should be, you need to listen to those internal feelings and you need to act upon them by speaking up for yourself. Self-advocacy with family and friends. That's probably one of the hardest subjects. Dealing with family is often hard because they don't understand your perspective. They haven't lived with dementia. They don't know what it feels like. You could try to explain it, but unless you actually have dementia, you're not going to get a grasp of it. You may have friends that don't understand it and who kind of turn away from you. Self-advocating would be discussing with your family and friends the part that you can about how you feel and what the disease is doing inside your body and your brain, and try to release some of the stresses and fears that they're having regarding that. As far as friends, my opinion is don't let them go. If we're used to talking to them twice a week and all of a sudden they're not calling, then call them twice a week and keep connected. And when they see that you're still the same person, they're gonna get past that initial fear factor and you're gonna remain friends. Otherwise, you feel alone and isolated because you've lost contact with friends. So you've really got to put yourself out there. You've got to take initiative. You have to not get your feelings hurt and realize that this is something that they don't understand and educate them. Self-advocating with professionals. There are over 100 types of dementia. Professionals do not understand all the different types of dementia that there are. If we're lucky, they understand Alzheimer's. But as for the other types, the less the percentage of people who have it, the less likely they are to know the symptoms, causes, and effects of that type of dementia. So when you're talking with professionals, keep that in mind that they probably don't understand your type of dementia. Give them a chance to learn about your type of dementia. Ask if you can get back with them after they've done some research regarding it, and set up another appointment with them to come back in. If they're not answering your questions, then nobody's going to answer them, and you're going to be left clueless as to where to go and how to progress and how to move forward. And you don't want to leave yourself in that position. Professionals are there to help you. It's their job to learn. If they can't get the information online, which I can't imagine since that's where most of us find it for ourselves, then they need to ask another professional who does have the information. Self-advocating with the public. As Amy said, there are people who are going to say, you don't look like you have dementia. One answer to that is, what does a person with dementia look like? I haven't seen any two of us in this segment that look alike. So there's not this group with round heads, square eyes, and pointy eyebrows that demonstrate what dementia looks like. And you need to not accept that from people, and you shouldn't be talked to like that. There's no reason for you to make up that you have dementia. There's nothing to be benefit or gained from it. So when you're dealing with the public, make sure that you speak up for yourself. Make sure if there's issues or things that they don't understand, that you educate them Pick and choose your battles. There are some people who are hostile type people, and my recommendation is that you walk away from those type of people. Okay, group advocacy. How do I start? You start by having at least one other person who has a common goal, common dream, common perspective, something in common with you that makes you build or form a connection. Then you add to that by finding other people who have things in common, and it's not going to be 100% of things in common, but you're going to have the majority of things of value and basic goals in common. And you're going to put those ahead of your individual needs and start building on a group concept of allowing the needs of the group to override your personal needs to a certain point that you still have the common goal of the group. Always feel that you have spoken your mind, your piece, said what you had to say, and move on from that. All of us want to be heard. We all want to be listened to, and being part of a group, your voice should be heard, even if the end result doesn't mean that it agrees with what you have said. How to address complex issues falls right into that. It's opening up the floor. It's having a discussion. It's learning new information. It's sharing. And it's finding the answers to your questions and then taking action on them. You want to know what it is that your group wants to accomplish, and when you've gone through the 3 steps, then you should have accomplished your goal. If you haven't, then you need to go back and start over again and work through the steps and work through the process until the group feels comfortable in the direction that they're headed. Okay, why speak out? It is imperative everyone understands the human cost of dementia. So people can walk in your shoes. Like I said, nobody's going to know what it feels like to have dementia unless they have dementia. But you have to give as much information as you can so that they can at least kind of step forward in your shoes and understand the basics of what you have internalized from your own experience with dementia. You need to break down the myths of dementia. You need to help reduce discrimination and stigma. There should be nothing about us without us. And that is a trademark phrase for people with dementia. There should not be conferences that are held without us. There should not be meetings about us that are held without us. Anything that is about dementia should include us. We should not be lectured to or talked to about the outcomes of dementia without having our own input. We need to educate and raise awareness. And that's the lifelong process for as long as you're able to, because new things are going to happen, new things are going to come up. Just look, this group wasn't in existence 14 months ago. All the changes that have come about since this group was established, and that's going to continue. And other new groups are going to form, and they're going to offer different services than what we offer. And being aware of them and being in tune and educating yourself is extremely important, because these are things that your doctor is not going to know or do. They don't have time, the energy, I don't believe the patience, but it is not something that they are going to take part in. Okay, as far as a world organization, you want to find other like-minded individuals with a similar vision. Have informal chats and invite friends to join in. This builds. Decide what your vision is and work towards it. Set manageable goals that are short-term. Set your long-term goals. Develop your mission statement. Decide on the structure of the group. Fill your administrative roles if you're going to do that through voting or whatever process your group has decided to use. Have a plan for growth and how growth will affect the group. You may start out with 10 people. I think we started out with 11. And you have to plan for what is it going to look like when it gets to 100 plus, and then what is it going to look like when it gets to 500? And how is that going to change the needs of that group, and how are you going to change with it? Always be willing to accept change because it is inevitable. And make sure you accomplish your goals along the way. I'm sorry, make sure you celebrate your accomplishments along the way. Okay, don't miss out on anything that we have to offer. You can go to infodai.org to get information and to see our webpage, and it also has the membership form. There's a drop-down link on the right-hand side that gives all the information of the different categories that we have. We try to keep it updated and keep you informed. Go back regularly because it does change regularly. And we hope you enjoy it, and I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and I'm ready for any questions that you may have.
Someone asked about the WISH project. Jan, I don't know if you want to speak to that, or?
No, I'll let you do that, Laura.
Well, it's, so it all started with. As Jan talked about, Dementia Alliance International was recently accepted by Alzheimer's Disease International, which is the umbrella organization for your Alzheimer Society and all the Alzheimer societies around the world. ADI represents all of you at the World Health Organization. And they have asked that somebody with dementia be in attendance at that event in March, which is being held in Geneva with the World Health Organization. And I guess it's an actual focus presentation on dementia. The World Health Organization asked that people with dementia tell them what their wishes are. I wish, at least this is how it was phrased to us initially. So I wish that, whatever, I wish that the support services were better. I wish that the diagnosis process was easier. I wish that, you know,
there's more money available.
There's more money available. I wish for cure, obviously. This idea of wishes kind of captured our imagination. So we started asking our members what their wishes would be. And we had, I think we're over 40 responses now. And in addition to sending them to the World Health Organization, I think some of them are going to be included in a presentation that's going to be put on during their event in March. I think that there will also be some of the slides containing the wishes also at the Alzheimer's Disease International Conference, which is being held in Perth, Australia in April. We also thought that during this World Health Organization event, which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jan, but I think it's also coordinating with the G7 Legacy event for the global dementia. There are so many groups now.
It is a collaboration.
There's the World Dementia Council, this Global Action Alliance, ADI. I mean, this is like, oh my God, we can't keep track. So anyway, so just bear with me.
They do interrelate.
Yeah, they all interrelate somehow, exactly. And the common theme has been that there are not very many people with dementia at these conferences, like maybe one. So they have these big meetings, these big international events. There's lots of publicity. And I think at the last one in Japan, there was at least one fellow with dementia from Japan who spoke at their conference, which is a step up from zero. So we thought that this WISH project, in addition to having our one speaker at their event in Geneva in March, that we would also use the opportunity to, over social media, let people know what the wishes are of people with dementia. So we're going to tweet and Facebook out these wishes during that event in March. We also thought that some of these wishes were rather good. Some people did a lot of writing. We thought that we'd put them into a book. We thought maybe we could pull this together before March, but I'm not so sure now. It's turning into a bigger project. We have,
it may be May.
maybe May, because we have wonderful artwork coming in as well. We have poems, we have the wishes, we have pictures of people's lives. Amy sent some amazing photos of her dog. I mean, this kind of WISH project is turning into almost like a comprehensive view of what it's like to be living with dementia today. And I think it could be really informative. So I'm starting to think it's something we don't want to rush. We want to do the artwork properly. We want to determine ahead of time exactly how this book is going to be used. Truthful. Things like that. So yeah, it's turning into a really neat project. And I think that it has the potential to really, in a world where people with dementia are not really listened to, it's another way of getting the voice of people with dementia out there in more than just one media, more than just a speaker, more than just social media. We're going to try and hit it in many different ways. So, yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Sounds
That's
like
the WISH project.
Yeah. Are there any comments from our end? Oh, we have a hand up here. Hold on one second.
Do you have a document or any advice on dealing with the scary feeling?
So we had a lady in the audience. Sorry, what's your name?
Mary.
Mary. We have a lady in the audience named Mary who's asking if you've ever had any documentation or tools put together for dealing with feelings. Specifically, she mentioned being scared.
Yes, because it was awesome.
In the presentation, it had been mentioned as well.
No, but one of the things that we are looking forward to is we have a new committee that is formed that is going to be dealing with making videos on different aspects of living with dementia. And as those are done, they'll be on the YouTube channel as well, and they'll be available to view. Laura, I don't know if you personally have anything.
Well, if you're talking about being a person with dementia and being scared, I think we touch on that topic in one of the master classes, which talks about what to do after diagnosis. We also have support groups that meet weekly online for people with dementia, where you can join in from your home or your office or wherever. They're very private groups. Everything that's said in the group stays in the group, and we talk about real topics. It's not doing arts and crafts. Obviously, arts and crafts is a little hard over this video format. So quite often people will talk about feelings such as being scared. It's a very legitimate feeling, and I think it's important to know that all your feelings are legitimate because it's your feeling. I also wanted to mention, and maybe Truthful, you can add to this, about Dementia Mentors is another organization that I'll send out the link to Jessica as well. And people with dementia have recorded quite a number of videos on there. I don't know if being scared is talked about, but you could probably look on there and see if...
I don't recall one on being scared. Do you, True?
Not right off the hand, but I wanted to mention we have like 24 bloggers that write about very often lots of feelings in and being scared is a very prevalent feeling going on, and so it's written about and it's out there, and I've got a long list of people that are blogging about their feelings.
We also have Facebook support groups, which are online, that you can access anytime. They're for people with dementia. You must have dementia to be a member. And you can get a lot of support there. John, actually, I'll let him speak to that because he actually runs that group.
Yeah, it's a Facebook group that's, you can talk about it's a secret group, and you can talk about anything that you want to, and there's fun things talked about and serious feelings or issues. You know, it runs the gamut about with what people talk about. But when it comes to being scared, or I would usually say a fear, I think there's fear at the base of a lot of what people go through with dementia, but sometimes we don't even realize it's fear, but that's kind of the base thing going on that causes us to react in different ways because we're afraid of, we're scared of the future, or we're scared of, whatever.
And if you contact John and you have dementia, you can become a part of that group, and the feedback is normally automatic. Within a few minutes, you're going to get feedback from other members supporting you and giving you not so much advice as their perspective on something and their experience with it. And I really appreciate that because I'm learning their experience. I don't feel like I'm reading a textbook. I'm hearing real life situations and things that people have gone through, and the reason that they've ended up able to overcome whatever issue it is.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things is everyone is, all of us with dementia share some things in common that kind of binds us, but in the same manner, everyone's unique. Everyone has a little bit different experiences, a little bit different problems, different things that they're worried about. So, it's like the old saying: if you've met one person with dementia, you've met one person with dementia.
And there is also a couple of Facebook groups that are run under the Dementia Alliance International wing. There's dementia information for diagnosed family members, caregivers and professionals. And there is also a Dementia Alliance page on conferences. So we're trying to list all the conferences available. And if anyone wants to know any more about them or even attend, that's where they'll be.
Thank you. So there's lots of peer support options, which is great online. Did that answer your question, Mary?
Partially, but I guess what I was looking for is advice.
Were you able to hear what Mary was saying?
No.
No, not really. Okay, so she was saying that she was wondering if there was any advice from the group as far as from the perspective of the caregiver. How would someone with dementia might want to be supported when they're dealing with the emotional and the different feelings that come across when you're experiencing this type of disease and living with dementia? I don't know if anyone in the group would want to speak to that as far as.
Sure.
Like everything else, it's an individual approach to each person, but if you have any experience of things that really worked well for yourself, what you might have wanted differently.
Yeah, you have to keep in mind that you had dementia the day before you were diagnosed with dementia. The only thing that changed is your realization that now you have that diagnosis. You're still the same human being, and you still have the same wants and needs that you had the day before you were diagnosed. You don't want to be treated differently. You want empathy for the fact that you do now have that diagnosis. You still want to be listened to. You still want to be respected. you still want, you have questions and you want answers to your questions, and you're going to seek out a way to find those, whether it's by yourself or with other people. And the people around you are also going to have questions, either that you're going to be able to answer for them or be able to get the information to them through another means, or where they go online and find out the information. It's really, you remain a family. You still function as a family, or you still function as friends or best friends, or you still function as the reading book club. None of those things in your life change the day that you're diagnosed. Over a period of time, you're going to see changes with mental decline, and the things around you and the things that you're involved in are going to change. But hopefully your wants and wishes and needs are going to be well known by that time, and you're going to continue to get the respect that you deserve.
Thank you, Jen. Does anyone else have any? Thank you, Jen. Does anyone else have any comments?
Myrna?
I hosted a memory cafe for people with Alzheimer's, caregivers, and a facilitator from a caregiver support group attended the meeting. She suggested that wouldn't it be wonderful if people with dementia would attend caregiver support meetings to help them understand our needs, not sort of, how do I say, they want to know what how we feel when we get up in the morning. Do we know we're going to have a bad day? How do we cope with having a bad day? What do we want our companions or our caregivers, how do we want them to assist us? And it says to me, it's sort of like the same kinds of things that we're asking and wanting information for. I don't want to know sort of what I'm going to do 3 years from now, but I want to know what sorts of things I can do right now, not only to help myself, but my family and my dementia family. I'm trying to think of the word, somebody should help me here, not airy-fairy, which is not the right word, but everyday things.
Strategies, like concrete strategies? Or?
Yes, actually things that we do on a daily or weekly basis. That's what I'm finding that people around me, and particularly this facilitator, and we're not invited to this meeting, this caregivers meeting, but a couple of us are going to attend anyway and sort of put our face out there and say, okay, this is what it looks like. And maybe we'll be funny and wear bunny ears to get their attention. But they and us want the same kinds of strategies for everyday coping.
Chris?
Yeah, I think as advice goes to anyone that's caring for someone with dementia or walking alongside them, is to walk alongside them, to embrace my reality and become part of it.
True.
I would really love it if my caregivers and loved ones would look at communication tools that they may not see as necessary right now, but say the fact that when I'm looking at them, I see bugs on them because of my Lewy body dementia, hallucinations. The fact that if I cannot see their lips, my brain doesn't register the sounds as words and sentences. Get the tools. Maybe they may not see those tools as necessary right now because they see me the same as they always have. I appear to be the same because I'm changing slowly. But I crave seeing that they are getting those tools so that I can get the confidence and security that I know communication can continue as I'm getting worse. Right now, don't see them getting those tools, and it scares me so badly.
And I think we need to tell them that's what we need them to do. I think that's kind of the problem here that we could easily look after.
Well, that's where self-advocacy comes in, isn't it?
Exactly.
And at the present time, I don't require any additional supports. I'm very independent still, but I take all of this in as I hear people talk about it, so that I know when that time comes that I'm going to need those supports, that these are the types of issues that I'm going to have to deal with. I'm going to have answers to that beforehand. So I call it my bag. I keep my bag of tricks for the support that I'm going to need in the future.
I kind of echo what True was saying. I'm experiencing very similar things in that trying to have my friends, family care enough about how to communicate with me. And then my thing is, I believe that they're fear-based. They don't want to look to the future of when we'll be worse. So my people are looking at me every day and hoping to say, well, you look fine today. And so when I'm put in that position, do I wish to confront that or speak about that and make them uncomfortable? It's just a circle that I haven't solved at all.
I think you
Susan, sorry, Susan Grant has been trying to get a word in here.
I am. Thank you. I did a film on AF. I have FTD as the dementia that I have, and I produced a film, and so far 26,000 people have watched it. I also just did a blog on why I think I'm still alive, because I was diagnosed in 2003, and 2004 at Mayo, they said I had 2 more years. Recently, they are changing the 2 years to 2 to 8 years more. But my family has it, and it's genetic. They haven't found my gene. But your idea about what you're scared about, I've written lots about that also in my ebook. And I will get you Laura, I'll get you all those things.
Please. Yeah, please.
One of the things I'd like to say is when it comes to a care partner, it is so tricky to me to say what we want them to do, because we're in an ever-changing world, because our disease is progressive. And for me, I want somebody to maybe assist me when I need it, but I want them to also enable me to be able to do the most that I can myself, and not disable me by saying, okay, you don't worry about that, I'll do it. So if there's something I can do, I don't want it taken away from me, in other words. So I think that's important, to communicate with the person, not just assume that, okay, they're struggling with that, I'm going to do it. I think you need to talk to them and say, do you want help with that? Do you want to continue to do that? I think it just involves communication too.
And get advice from each other. You're in this together. One of your friends, or they may not even be a close friend, but one of your acquaintances may have gone through a similar situation, and by discussing it, you may come up with answers that you wouldn't have otherwise had. So always keep the discussion open.
Mm-hmm. People need to be listened to, and of course listened to by their doctors, and their doctors need to believe that we know what's happening inside our heads. And so it's one of those places. I am now splitting up with my partner from 28 years because she doesn't hate me, but she hates my disease. And so I think the key point, the stigma is being followed by the caregivers, and not all of us have the same thing. In FTD, there's what's called a BV FTD, behavioral variant, and they can't get a lot of people under control with meds, but they also don't even know what you should be doing. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to help people by listening. I was on a suicide hotline for 6 years, and all you did was listen. And that really, really helped, because you found out that your friends don't listen to you either, really. If you don't express to them what you think they said, you don't know if they really get it. So I'd love to start something that people can listen and then know that they've been heard.
Thank you. You just gave us some very valuable information and perspectives from everyone on our screen. I'm just wondering if anyone with regards to supporting someone who's living with dementia, anyone in our room would have a comment to address Mary's question as well about how to support someone. There's good feedback about listening, being with the person, accompanying them, and to be on them with the journey and to listen to what their needs are. Is there anyone else in the room that had another suggestion or anything else that they would want to add to that? Okay. No one in the room right now has anything else to say about that?
I wanted to add something, Jessica, yes, to what everybody said here. Having talked to and heard from a lot of people with dementia, so sort of as an observance of what people have said, it seems that if the person with dementia is assisted in gaining control of their life again, that helps to just having that control. Because I think maybe there's a fear of losing control, and if you can gain control and start planning again for your life, start living your life. Because as Jan pointed out, you're almost like the same person you were the day before diagnosis, but just now you have the diagnosis. So it's that idea of gaining control of your future again, getting control of your life. And a lot of the fear is also generated through media, through what people are told about the experience of dementia that doesn't necessarily come from the people with dementia themselves. It's the way that dementia is portrayed in the media. There's a lot of bad stuff for sure, but it's not, as Susan said, her diagnosis, she was told 2 years because that's what the prevailing idea was. And she's been living with dementia now for 12 years. So there's a lot of misinformation out there. And I think one aspect of gaining control is also getting the proper information and doing the research. And that's a way of gaining control.
Thank you.
And Susan and I actually have that in common. I was diagnosed in 2003 and given 1 to 2 years to live. And I have behavior variant FTD.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize we were diagnosed the same year, Susan.
Good.
We can keep celebrating anniversaries together.
And we're gonna keep going up. My neuropsych scores right now have been even for 2 years, and this last year they went up. Wow. So that's my purpose in life. I'm gonna see how I can get them to go.
Yeah.
Good for you.
We have another question or comment on our side.
Mm-hmm.
Indicated that you're the same as you were the day after diagnosis as the day before diagnosis. But as your disease progresses, there are many things that you can't do that you're able to do. Or tools for not being able to do the things that you used to be able to do.
a very good question. Did you hear on your end?
No.
No.
Oh, I don't know. Hold on. She's going to come up to the mic to repeat it. I'm sorry about that. Here, I'm going to. Okay. Hi there.
Hi.
My name is Laurel, and I am one of the supporting caregivers. And what my question is you've said that there's, you're the same as you were before you were diagnosed as after you've been diagnosed with your disease. But there are many things that you cannot do that you used to be able to do, presumably. And in my caregiving, helping caregiving role, that's the case for me. My father-in-law cannot do many of the things that he used to be able to do. So how do you cope with that? What do you do to deal with the fact that you don't have these capabilities to be able to do some of the things that you used to do?
You try very hard to focus on the things that you're still capable of doing, the things you're still capable of learning, the ways that you can adjust around whatever the subject may be. You still have abilities, and when I say that you're the same person the day you're diagnosed as you were the day before, something took you to that doctor to get that diagnosis. So there's already been losses, and you've already felt those. Now they've just put a name to it. And if you research it, you know that it's going to be deteriorating. It's a terminal illness. And we all know what the end result is going to be. So we adapt and adjust along the way with what we can do, and we celebrate our accomplishments and try not to spend all of your time focusing on what it is you no longer can do.
And also, it's very individual as far as where the damage is occurring, what it's affecting, whether it's affecting, in early stage, whether it's affecting this ability or that ability, whether it's affecting your personality. I have myself, they believe, atypical Alzheimer's, the frontal variant, started in the frontal lobe. I still don't have major memory problems, but I have a lot of other problems, including there's been obvious effects on my personality and a lot of different things. So it just, it depends upon the person. Everybody's.
And don't forget, we need an element of risk. Live well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So don't wrap us up in cotton wool. Ask us what assistance we need.
Yeah.
I think a big aspect. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to ask Laurel if there was a specific instance, because sometimes it helps to say, just give an example. But yeah, Chris is right. Sometimes the person who's dealing with the issue will have some ideas about how to help with them. But do you have a specific instance of something? Example.
My father-in-law is a professor, and his dementia is semantic dementia. So his ability to be able to read has diminished. It's not gone, but it is diminished, and it's much harder than it used to be in order to be able to communicate. And as well with communication, he was a storied professor. He has all of this ability to communicate these high-level things with other people. And now that communication, the finding of words has diminished a lot. So
there are tools out there to help with that and to work within those parameters. I know that there are applications available on iPad that can help with communication. You can do a communication book so that when he can't remember a word, he can point to a picture, or he can point to the word in the book, and then you'll know what he's talking about. he doesn't need to give up communication. He needs to adapt his communication.
And I think part of it is being able to have the self-control and recognize, okay, this is a problem. What are some compensatory tools and techniques that I can use in order to compensate as much as possible? My reading level is dropped from university level to about 4th grade. And for a lot of that time, I was able to compensate if I can see it, when it comes to hearing a voice, if I can see the mouth and hear the sounds at the same time, having the signals coming in more than one way, I am more able to understand. The same is true with reading. If I can hear myself or someone else say the sounds of the words, and if I can see the words at the same time, then I can better connect the noun and the verb, etc., to make sense of what I'm reading. But the process of having the strength of self to be able to go out and look for the tools to compensate, and then to also see what new goals can come about because of what is happening. Because when he discovers those compensatory tools, they can be useful to other people, and that can be a goal in itself for your whoever it is, in finding ways to share that information with others can be a whole new goal, can open a whole new realm of purpose.
Actually, we just recently did a focus group with Alzheimer's Disease International for the GAC committee on assistive technology, and what it was that we wanted as people with dementia. It's the first time that we've been asked. So that was very informative, and I think a lot came out of it that will assist people who are trying to be supportive of people with dementia.
I like the comment about having to adapt to where the person is at, because of course each individual comes to a place where with their history and what their abilities are, and then unfortunately as the disease progresses, their levels are going to be changing of what they're able to handle and how they can cope. And as far as communication, it's finding maybe things that are appropriate. If it's books that are simplified or use less sophisticated language, or even sometimes images as well, using picture books to help sort of initiate conversation. But it's adapting in that sense, depending on where the person is at.
Another thing is reading a paragraph or two to a person, and then having a discussion about it.
Another good, very good recommendation.
Yeah, I was going to say there's also audiobooks, but one of the tricks is with somebody with dementia is finding, if something that they really enjoyed before has become difficult, is finding something else that's a passion for them that they can still do. And it seems almost universal that music is a source of joy for people with dementia, usually whatever music they really enjoyed when they were younger. So
maybe doing the audiobook and reading the book at the same time. So if the person has the book in their hand and then they're also able to listen to the audiobook at the same time, like Truthful was saying, the words, hearing it reinforces the words.
She would have to do that. She would have to utilize it that way, where other people may be able to use just audiobooks. She would also need the book to be able to follow along with the words.
Mm-hmm. There's also a group called Sharper Brains that is on LinkedIn, and there are about 6 companies producing software now to help facilitate your brain doing better. we're finding not necessarily scores, but they aren't judging it accordingly. But you can get into the group that's called Friends of Sharper Brains and get a hold of what they're doing.
Else on our end have any other questions or comments that they would like to share?
Yeah, at the risk of, you may not mention it already because I came late. I have a friend who's got, and I'll talk about myself after. He's got vascular dementia. I mean, that's the definition, and I say he's all falling apart. He's in the hospital 90% of the time, and that's all the definition is. I'm not sure that's a dementia of some sort. So I guess there's a large degree of them. I'm going to say something stupid probably, but the controversy we're having now with vaccines, and yes, no, autism and not autism and all that stuff. That's getting very, very to the point where you say, who nothing's 100% right. Nothing percent 50% probably right. But whatever it is, there's such a risk, it seems to be, and there's such a growth of this autism. Now, dementia, you grade it from 1 to 10 and say, look, I got number 3 dementia or something like that. I don't know if you do that, but I know I got it, but I don't know what level it is or whatever. But I can function. But anyways, get back to my friend with the vascular dementia. If you can answer those little questions I just asked.
So what is vascular dementia?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's quite serious. Obviously, it's the worst kind.
I don't know if there's any worse kind, but they're all different. Anybody?
Yeah, well, the vascular dementia all has to do with circulatory system, so it's a little bit different than the other dementias, but I'm guessing if he has vascular dementia, then he's probably got, if he's got tremendous health problems, he may have problems with the circulatory and the rest of his body, which are, that could be causing problems, or there could be other health issues. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Vascular dementia is most frequently brought on by small mini strokes. And
that's the word I heard was a stroke too, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Rehabilitation is usually used with vascular dementia, unlike most other dementias.
No. Once you've had a stroke or you've had a collection of mini strokes, you'll have patches of damage or lesions left behind by the actual stroke, which is where the damage is caused. So you can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm. There are people that they help with speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy.
Yeah,
but not the dementia.
Helping with the symptoms, and what Chris is saying, you can't change the damage that's been done, but you might be able to improve the symptoms, probably. So.
Mm-hmm. Jan, that's a really good point. It's because if somebody who's 40 has a stroke and they lose movement on one side of their body, or they lose part of their memory or something like that, quite often there's rehabilitation for that person. And that is something that irritates a lot of people with dementia, because that's a specific kind of brain injury, and why isn't there rehabilitation for everybody else? And now it's hard, as Chris said, to rehabilitate a part of the brain that has been damaged, but training can help your brain to compensate for the damage. Right. So your friend sounds though like he's pretty far along, and you said numbers. So are you referring to some of the stages that people talk about?
He was well 2 years ago, very mobile and traveling and everything.
Sometimes with the vascular dementia, and I'm going to say something in a second, but with the vascular dementia, it's like going off a cliff. The symptoms will be like this, and then because of a stroke. So it's very sudden. So that can happen. My mother had vascular dementia, and that is how it happened. There were definite plateaus and down, and she had a major stroke. And the difficulty in her having rehabilitation is that she couldn't remember that she had therapy the day before, and the person who was helping her was not trained to work with people with dementia. So, But, you know, quite often they don't know what kind of dementia a person has until an autopsy is done. There's so many things, types of dementia are called Alzheimer's disease that might not be. I think just about most of the people here have had different diagnoses over the years, have had changed diagnoses. It's a very frustrating process.
There's over 100 causes that contribute to a dementia.
Else, I know that we're getting close to the end of our cafe. I don't know if there's any other questions or comments that people would like to make before we move. I think on all our everyone on our end is really enjoying the exchange with all of you and being able to see you as well on the screen with your pictures and so forth. So it's been a very big pleasure on our part.
And likewise.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I have to apologize for being late. I was having allergy testing done. I'd rather been here than having that done.
Does anybody in our group have any questions?
I think that's it.
Thank you guys for your
I'm
input
going to be
today.
sharing the link with our group here. I'm going to be sharing the link with the participants of the cafe.
Okay.
So they'll be able to become members if they can and to follow you on the news bulletin if they're a caregiver or someone who's not living with dementia.
Okay. Terrific. Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Jan, as well for the presentation.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.